So, my name is Evan Strong. This video is a little bit different layout. I'm just a little bit farther away than I normally am, but I make content geared normally around our shoelaces, the lacing of our shoes, the tying of our shoes, and our clothing that we wear, the discrepancies within those things left to right, forward and back, sizes and weights that don't allow our bodies to just have their natural function and their natural rotations and their natural center lines, to just allow us to operate as we would as normal functioning human beings, because by placing things on our physical body, that can potentially alter the way that it works. And most modern clothing just really does alter the way that our body works to quite a great degree. So, I'm going to talk about stepping. This goes for stairs, this goes for hiking, any kind of step that you're ever going to take onto something. Because as I show within all of the things that I show within our clothing and our shoes, the only thing I do is allow it to work for us so that we can do what we would naturally do. We meaning our bodies. So, prerequisites, stemming from the shoes all the way up through the entire body. Take all the tags out. Remove every tag from everything that you place on your body. Also, tie and lace your shoes with my technique, which I have in many places within my content, tying them from the outside over toward the inside, toward the center line of your body. Okay? Prerequisites, those must be done, because then your body will just be in its natural working position. Okay, when it comes to stepping up, right, I'm going to use these bleachers as an example because it's taller than a stair, but it's shorter than some other things that you might be stepping onto, so it's a good example to use. So, if you do the prerequisites within the clothing to just allow your body to have its natural function, then it will just work to its own capability. But here I'm going to give a demonstration of what it looks like. I always talk about internal rotation, okay? That's how I'm able to balance and stand and reach and point, right? Internal rotation, which is an opening of the hips and the legs are rotating in. So, when you step onto something, if your body's in a natural, open, internal position, your hips are in a position where you can just lift one and still be very solid and even. Now when you step, similar to how you're already standing in a natural position, you'll be on the outsides of your feet, slightly internal. So your glutes are active and your hamstrings are active. I've talked about before how people like to go to the gym and get really big quads. You don't have very much functional strength within your quads. Your quads do they only work in it's kind of the end range of motion. About this much is where your quads are doing the work. But once you get down here, it's your hamstrings and your glutes that are doing all the strength. I mean, like, see how I just have like solid stance? That's the posterior chain, allowing for internal rotation. So, yeah, when you're stepping onto something, you don't want to feel it in your quads. Ideally, there's no heel on your shoe, because that alters where the activation gets placed, and that'll make it feel like you want to use your quads, but this is just not a natural position, right? So if our feet are flat on the ground, okay, and our posterior chain is being activated in proper open internal rotation, and when you step, you're already in a strong stance to where you can just get up there. And now you're not using the front of your body. You're using back here to just push you up and bring you back down. It's the same position as standing, but just in more of a bend. It really is. The activation does not change very much going from here to here. Because if you're open, you can watch my hips. Like, I'll put my thumbs on my hip bones, very tops of my hips. They don't really shift, right? They just stay there because my hips are open and active in internal rotation, right? So when you step, you want to stay open. You want to stay on the outsides of your feet, and you want to stay in a posterior, like this, posterior tuck of the pelvis. So I'm just going to walk up and walk back down the bleachers in just a proper open stance so you can see. See that? Nothing is shifting. It's just in a working position to where the range of motion is there and it can just work within that range, right? So the reason people have such a hard time stepping onto something is if their pelvis is anteriorly tilted, now it feels like you're doing so much work because you're forcing your body to work in a position that it doesn't work in. Your body wants to be not where it is currently, what it looks like. It wants to be here, internal. Now, it just functions. That's why I stress and stress and stress internal rotation so much within my content. Stress meaning just, I mentioned the importance of it to allow for this kind of thing, right? Stepping up on something within your own body's capability isn't actually hard. If your body's in its natural working position, it'll just do it, right? So we just need to stay open and internal, right? So if you're going on a hike, I mean, this is a very repetitive thing you'll be doing over and over and over again. Going up a mountain on a hike. You need, just to allow your body to do its natural thing, you need to do the prerequisites, which I showed at the beginning of this, just to allow a working position. Because if you go on a hike, or if I go on a hike, any human, in a position, anterior pelvis, with anything in the front pockets, anything pulling up from the back, laces collapsing your arches, shoes tied uneven, tags within your clothing, and now you try to step up a mountain, of course you're getting sore. I've mentioned so often how stretching is not necessary, and I've gone into depth on how that is a true claim. If you're doing things like this, of course your body's gonna be kind of screaming at you saying, hey, this is not the position I work in. But if you can get into a normal working position, then you just work. You can go on a hike, here's a mountain, and we just go. My body doesn't change position, it just works within its position, right? So, yeah. Whether it's going upstairs within your own house, or like to your front door, whether it's something bigger on a bigger scale, it all applies the same thing. And as I say, at least up until this point, the 31st of August 2024, within any content I have ever posted about this, I have never given a single exercise, a single stretch, a single routine, never, in anything I've ever talked about up until this point within my content about the human body. Because this isn't something you train. This isn't something you work up to. This is the position universally our human bodies, because they're handcrafted all in the same way within our slight differences individually, to work. They're just designed to do what they're designed to do. And we just need to allow them to stay in their position. So, that's about it. That's about all I need to cover. You should feel the activation in the rear, in the posterior. Here, 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 and here. In the back, right? That's how I'm allowed to just stay open. That's how I'm allowed to just do a lot of exercise, but not for the sake of exercise, but you know, just have fun and do things that require your body to work and not get sore, because it shouldn't. Now, within our own situations, right? But it really shouldn't. We are universally designed, but we just, it's very common in 2024 for people to not look like this when they stand. I can use myself as an example, again, because we are all the same within our differences. And so when I'm showing the way that my body position is, it's because that's what my entire content is about, is allowing all of us to our own body's capability to get here, okay? Because I wasn't here before. So, yeah. I'm going to be designing clothing. I'm not sure when, as I state each time I say that, just when it happens, but just to allow our bodies to do this. Allow our bodies to have their natural function, whether it's your right foot stepping up, or if it's your left foot stepping up. It's the same position because we have two sides of our bodies from our center line. So, I've posted a lot of content about the human body, free information that I explain thoroughly. I know I give some pretty bold claims, but I explain them and they are true. As I've said, bold claims can be true if they're true, okay? So, yeah. My name's Evan Strong. The body's simple. The body just works. The body just has its function, and it does it well within our own capability as long as we allow it to. So again, anytime you hear a bold claim from me, before you get a little bit upset about it, listen to what I'm saying, because I thoroughly explain the things that I talk about. So, yes, I mean, there's just natural function that we should have. And it really is the shoelacing and tying and the clothing that allows me personally to do this. Because as I mentioned before, I couldn't. I've mentioned a little bit about my past experience with my own, you know, things within my body. Yes, these things, I'm speaking out of experience. So, it is true that we should not get sore, that we should not have to stretch, and that exercise is not necessary for the sake of exercising. Doing exercise is wonderful, it's great if you're doing it for a real reason, but this is not something you need to work up to with exercises. This is something your body does if it's allowed to, within your own situation. But your own situation is probably nowhere near as limited as you've either been told by doctors or as you might think, again, from personal experience. So, thank you. As I stated, it's the 31st of August, 2024. So, whether it's your stairs or it's a mountain, stepping up onto something is not hard for your body within its own capability if you allow it to be in its natural position. Remember, it's the posterior chain, the rear muscles of your body that have the strength. It's not in your quads. So, yes. If you're getting sore in the front of your body, in your quads, your body is not in a good position to work. And it's not its fault, it's the clothing that you're wearing. So, go within my content, free content, go see, oh, I'm gonna fall backward. these shorts are kind of tight. Good example, right, of why I focus on clothing. Go see the things that I show on how to just allow your body to work, and then it will. So, stepping, open, right? Outsides of the feet, posterior chain, internal rotation, and then your body will just do its thing. All right? Cool. So, yes, I just don't want to like jump out of this video if there's more I need to cover. Because I used to get sore. I used to get sore just walking around. I feel like the next day I'd have to recuperate and recover because I, did my daily tasks. And now I can do just more than I could have dreamed. And I don't ever stretch, ever. I'm talking the past 6 months at least, I have not stretched other than just working out stuck muscles. Not stiff, but like stuck from a bad positioning, right? Because I only started doing this kind of modification within the clothing around a year ago. And maybe even less with a lot of things, because the big thing was the shoelacing and tying is where I started about a year and a half ago. So it's just been a little journey to figure out how to get the body to work. And 0 exercises have been done by me to get my personal body here from where it was, which was a position that was not a good working position. So, when stepping up, open, internal, posterior activation, and then your body will just work. So, yes, just trying to make sure there's nothing else I need to say because it's an outside of the feet, right? And your hips will then just stay even because internal rotators of the hip, the muscles that allow your feet to come in, right? The position I'm always showing, they will stabilize your hips up and down, left to right. If I were to try to do this, me currently right now, I will do this out of authenticity. If I try to step down with my feet out, it's hard. I mean, there's muscles being recruited in here and the hips start to bind up and it's hard. If I have my feet out, my core feels like it's trying to do so much weird work and I have like just about 0 strength or balance. I mean, this is real, I'm not exaggerating. With my arches collapsed and my feet out, that's why I show this internal position, the outsides of the feet, which is just natural. If you look at anybody within the world, there's certain continents or countries where people don't wear much clothing or shoes, right? Shoes are clothing. And when they walk and when they move, it's more like this kind of position. If you picture, I'm just being real with this. If you picture like, you're like out there with your tribe, serious, right? As certain parts of the earth, current. This is not like past historic, this is how people were. We get that image sometimes when we live in the United States of America especially, but on the earth there's plenty of people who live a lifestyle that a lot of us might think is like past, right? But if you have a spear and you're hunting an animal, really, for food, and you have like minimal clothing on, as in just very little, you're gonna be walking kind of like this. Look at my feet, right? I'm on the outsides of my feet, very active, very mobile. That's just the position that your body wants to be in to step up, okay? Yeah. So, open, active, outsides of the feet. I think the reason I was trying to pray into why I went into that kind of realm of explaining this was because I know how bold it is to say that we should just be able to do things. And you might think it's just my body, and you might think that I have an idea of the position that we should be in, but no, It's the natural position. That's why I showed this kind of thing. You know, you imagine hunting with a spear. This is how you would walk. This is how your feet would work, right? And your feet are the foundation, so everything up from there follows. So that's cool. I'm glad that that explanation happened, because I mean, like strength like this, I don't work out. And it's not that I'm naturally stronger than him or her. I couldn't ever used to do this when I did work out. It's just a positioning, not posture, not exercises, a positioning, natural positioning. Okay, cool. Thank you. Stick around for clothing, and yeah, I'm excited. Okay, again, my name is Evan Strong. Okay, thank you.